Welcome everybody, good to see you all, and welcome back to SIMseniors Season 9. Now, first off, apologies for not being present last week. I had a couple of health issues, unfortunately was not able to find someone to infill on short notice, so apologies for that. We will of course go over a bit of a recap from the previous round. We'll go through everything that we missed, make sure that everyone is fully clued in on to the season. But it's good to be back. I can see everyone in the chat, and I can see everyone is making themselves right at home. So good to see those familiar faces. And say, of course, best of luck to everyone trackside who is really jumping in today for the racing. Now that we are getting into those later stages of the championship, and we are going to be seeing the racers start to try and consolidate their positions. Now, it is random weather. We are, of course, here in Imola, as you can see. And the main thing here is that the field is going to be back to where it was before. So, you remember last time we had a bit of an interesting change-up owing to the fact there was the Nordschleifer, but pleased to say we are back on to standard format. So silver and bronze are going to go out for the first 10 minutes, and then it will be golds only for the final 10 minutes of qualifying because of the high density of the season. 36 cars adorn the track today, and right out the gate we're seeing a few different contenders trying to get their jump and get out there nice and early. So let's see who has it. Let's see who has the ability to push. Now, I'm being told that there is rain on the horizon. You can see there in the top right corner too. A little bit of a weather indicator. It is going to be 30 minutes out. We will have some potential rain on our hands, so that's going to be a big effector on the race, considering the weather is going to be really affecting how these drivers approach these corners and how they approach the circuit as a whole. We're on board with Paul Murray. He's just starting off here. But coming into tonight's round, it is going to be a pretty interesting one. Now, also worth mentioning the ballast. So right now we have, say, Peter Wolfslander with, I believe that is negative 10 kilos of ballast. So 10 kilos of weight removed. We have Lindblom with 40 kilos of weight added. Jimmy Engdahl with 15 kilos of weight added. And Gaimar with 10 kilos of weight added. So those gold class runners are going to have a little bit of extra variance. Although in the rain, the weight gain can be a little bit negated. It actually might make your car a little bit more stable depending on your driving style. But let's see how it goes. But either way, Paul Murray, we're sticking with him for now, as he is now making his way, just coming out of Tamburello and now into the Villeneuve chicane. Of course, you've got to balance your speed. You've got to keep the car nice and planted here. Now going into Tosa in turn 7. They ride the inner line until you could peel your way out to that right-hand curb. When it comes to the rain, the drivers will have to be very careful at the curbs. That's also something worth mentioning. So we do have a couple of times coming through, but they are not yet fully valid. These are just installation laps. So Paul Murray is going to be the first true litmus test of the pace as he goes through Acqua Minerale now. And then into Variante Alta. Tightest chicane, easiest to get wrong. That's a coming sharp on the approach. So dropping down to about 80 kilometers per hour, but shifting into second gear. Nice and quick on the exit. Make sure he can power out of that corner with no issue. Nicely done there. Clean running from Murray. He is going to be our benchmark, and we'll see what the rest of the field has in store for us. Now coming through and out into Rivazzo. That final double left-hander to complete the lap, and a short but sweet right curvature of the start-finish. Start-finish straight-ish. It's got a couple of corners snuck in there for good measure. But here we go, up to the line, and it is a 44.4. So Paul Murray is going to be our initial bench. Let's see who the rest is going to come through. Peter Smith, I think starting one here is going to be John Mitchell, 43.992. 44.5 coming in for Peter Smith. He's going to slot himself into third. Meanwhile, Christian Sullivan, the driver that we have had the pleasure of watching for a good bit now, into potentially good standing, 46.1. So not quite there yet, but he has a bit more time. He's got about 5 minutes left, so that will equate to potentially up to 3 more laps before he has to call it time. 44.64 from Andy Trickett into 4th position. Roger Disbiquez coming up to the line at a 44.7. So he's really sort of found his stride, found his footing at this stage of the championship in the season. John Gabbert in the almost Castrol-themed NSX here. My brain was screaming ARTA, but that's a certain gold class driver we'll talk about later. 44.0 for John Gabbert. He's going to be the second driver to knock on the door of the 43s, as Iro is in the 43.7, fastest time of the session thus far. Mitchell is going to try and challenge that, however. 43.9 currently stands. Robert Homer just coming through with a 43.8. See, 43.4 coming from Vladislav Vyšarek. So the pressure is on here. All eyes on Mitchell, as he has got the means and the pace. Right now he's 1.3 seconds up on the delta right here. And there is going to be more opportunities for the other drivers. But now we'll see. What's he got? 43.9. Is that going to become? It's a 42. What a rocket ship run there. Alex North going to follow suit with the next 42. It's 42.9. So the elbow's definitely out. The driver's definitely pushing with every fibre of their being. Anthony Hebert, third car, into the 42s with a .987. Still, nobody is touching that .51 of John Mitchell in the Porsche right now. He is looking mighty unstoppable. But let's see what the rest of the field has in store. John Gabbert, second up. Now remember, at the 10-minute mark, it is considered complete in terms of the qualifying session for the bronze and the silver drivers. So they will have to get into the pits as soon as their laps are completed here. Here we go. Gabbert, 44.0, but a second up. So has the chance to jump into the top 5. Gets into a 42.9 dead. And that is going to be the 5th car to join the cohort after Alex North just went through as well alongside Anthony Hebert. So Matthias Martinsson as well, .777. Really impressive stuff there. Looking mighty quick. Another Wolfpack entry here. They already looking sharp here. Quinn Kellenberg with a 47.7 right now. See if he has a chance to make an improvement on that front. We unfortunately, did get word the other week that Damien Reed will not be joining us for the rest of the championship. He's chosen to take a sabbatical, but just want to say, if he is watching, then wish him nothing but the best, mate. Say hope all is well, and potentially see you in the next season, because we'd love to have you. There are a few improvements across the board here, but time is of the essence. John Mitchell has pushed the envelope even further and made it a .407. .637 going to Alex North, slotting himself into second place, with Andy Trickett barely missing out on the top 10 by a tenth of a second, as Iro currently holds that line. Though invalidated, he's not got a chance to go for it just yet. He is running out of time though. This is most likely going to be his final chance, his final lap to do so, as before long the flag will fall, the checkered flag will come out for the bronze and silver, and then it will be gold territory only. If you are found in violation of that, if you try to go for another lap after that 10-minute mark, there will be heavy scrutiny. I don't think we've had a situation like that, luckily, but it is still worth mentioning that is not allowed under any circumstances. Otherwise, the track will simply get too congested. We are Quinn Kellenberg. Solid improvement, over a second right now, 46.3. So not enough for position, but he's brought him well into proximity for the rest of the field. So it's certainly something that can be respected and something that should be commended. Yeah, last chances for a lot of drivers here. So Mitchell did get 42.9, so no improvement from him there. We'll see Matthias Martinsson invalidate, unfortunately, just coming out of Variante Alto. A little bit too much on the exit there. So has been dealt a heavy hand. Craig Morrison coming up to the line. A couple of abandons from some of the other cars as the final 30 seconds in the first half. And now it's going to be last crunch time. Craig Morrison into 15th. See if anyone has any challenge for that. Zero coming up to the line now has got an improvement. Is it enough to restore him to the top 10? Let's see. Coming up to the line, it's going to be a P9. Excellent stuff. It's a 43.2, so that's just going to be behind Robert Homer and into that top 10 spot once again. John Mitchell teetering on the line, and he will be facing some significant pressure to perform. Although he is slightly down on his deltas, looks like that was a little bit of a wobbly chicane there. Briefly up on deltas, but not staying. Soon will be the time for the gold class, and we will see them already now making their way out to the pits. You can see the cars now exiting, and there we go. There's an abandon from John Mitchell. He's not going to be committing to that full lap, and now we're going to see the final set of cars from that cohort before it's time to see who has the magic. Who's got the magic here? So that is going to be Zimmer into P8. Solid performance there. There's a last pits in, but now time to focus our attention elsewhere as it is going to be gold season. Final 10 minutes. This is the high-speed shootout. Rain looks like it's subsided for now. We previously saw that rain warning, but it doesn't seem to be staying. Doesn't seem to be staying here, but we will have the rest of the field now coming through, as it's going to be a hard push to get this season into swing in favour of the championships. So, looking at the standings heading into tonight, so we'll stay with the gold. Liam Blom currently stands 139 points with Guillemot in 125. Hermé is going to be in third with 116, closely followed by Jimmy Engdahl and then Peter Wolfslener in fourth and fifth. That's the top five for gold. Silver, it is going to be John Mitchell, so not surprised with how hard he's pushing here in qualifying. He's got a lot of pressure, as 2 points behind him is going to be Alex North, who is currently P3 in that respective group. Branislav Vishrek is going to be in third with 113 points, and then Paul Murray with 110, alongside Rich Arscombe with 105. Finally, in the bronze cohort, it is Craig Niesbet with Rog Dismuquez with 133 and 122 points, respectively. Andy Trickett, John Gabbert, and Peter Smith complete your top five for bronze, and with that now, we will see who has got what it takes to cause a potential late-season upset, as we have been on board with Guillemot now, heading now into the final corners, heading now into Rivazza. Holding a good line. Let's see what the benchmark is for the gold teams. Let's see what we've got in store. And looks like immediately out of the gate, Guillemot is coming on strong. 41.1. What an early benchmark to set here. Say Leonardo's 42.7. Scotty Hermé with a 42.5. Dave Marsh with a 42.4. Wolfslener with a 0.3. So this is where it gets spicy, folks. This is where it gets interesting. And now where we can see the racers go all out in pursuit of that chance. Justin Cutler is going to be in 4th, just behind Ben Neergaard in the 313 Mercedes with the 42.0. Johan Larsson, 41.9. So, second car to get into the 41s and proving why they are in the top spot. Hamby with a 42.4. And then Dave Marsh, now being dropped down to 8th as the rest of the field have had a chance to get some laps in. We do have Holmberg, Bull and Olsen having not set times on this occasion. Bull and Olsen in the bronze, meaning they have missed their chance, unfortunately. But then Holmberg will have to go for another shot here. So I think he got a little bit messed up on his previous lap. So his installation lap wasn't quite to plan. But here we go. Let's see who has the will and the fight to keep moving up. Time to have it all out on the table here. So Wolfslener is going to be looking pretty far up. 40.9 though coming in from a certain NSX. It's David Lindblom. He is, despite the odds and despite the ballast being placed on him, he is going to be leading those timesheets. Ridiculous stuff coming from him. Guillemard is going to try and closely match, but it's not quite going to happen though. Wolfslener is going to back him up in P3 with a 41.4. And Hermé getting himself up into 4 as well with a 41.582. Hey, well, everyone in the chat, say if you are a racer who's in the chat right now, wish you nothing but the best of luck as always, and want to see fireworks out on track. The good kind of fireworks, to be absolutely clear, not the incident fireworks, but want to see. Oh no, saying that, Damien Reed has returned to the course. Well, lovely to have you back, buddy. Really lovely to have you back. Worried we wasn't going to see the beautiful Lexus again. That has put a smile on my face. I feel very happy now. I feel very happy and fuzzy inside. Colin McNair, P35, only managed to get an installation lap in, 2:03. So he's certainly got a lot more on the table. I think he might have messed up in Sector 3 here because his Delta is currently about only a second up. So I think that there is still plenty more. Guillemard is going to leapfrog Lindblom at the head of qualifying here, 40.880. We're going to see if Lindblom has any kind of response as Hermé pushes himself into P3 with 41.335. Johan Larsson into 5th, just ahead of Neergaard by 8 milliseconds, and now pushing that even further, getting very close to Wolfslener's time, but it's not enough to gain a position. 42 dead on for Linatus, which I think is ridiculous in terms of consistency, as Justin Cutler pushes up into P7. We're still keeping an eye on McNair though, as we do want to see what kind of time he can push on. We know that he's a fast driver, he just needs to bring that lap in and bring it consistent. Coming up to the line now, it's going to be a 42.012, just slightly behind Linatus. As you can see, yeah, 42 flat to the millisecond. Insanely precise. We can pretend that this is fully intentional, right? Because I will back up that end of it. If that's what comes to pass, I will back up the story. Wanted a test of precision, and lo and behold, we got it. But even so, looking around the rest of the field, it's Holmberg, as he just comes up over and cresting out of Aqua Minerale now into Variante Alta. I'm nervous for this chicane in race trim. I am always nervous for that particular chicane. You do see drivers try to fire it into that one and really just go all in, like almost gung-ho, into that chicane, and it never ends well. There's always someone who peels off across the grass and tries to retain position, or has forced to go out to the outside. So it's never an easy time. You need to really get your moves done before Acqua Minerale, because then you can confirm it out. That's a single file complex as well. To go side by side was similarly to certain other complexes in other racetracks is akin to a life sentence. You will be banished. Let's see now, McNair going to improve even further here, so really rising from the ashes of that initial lap. They're going into P4 with a .372. Seriously impressive stuff. So far, your order is looking pretty stacked. You've got Guillemard actually leading on this one, with Lindblom and Herme in second and third, although those two are in the pits, so I think we may be seeing Lindblom and Herme stay in P2 and 3. They're not going to have a chance to go again, which means Guillemard has got pole out of today's session. As invalidated, he will not get another chance to go again, but it is last chances, last runs for a lot of the field here. And there you go, the timer is ticking. So what you see is what you get. This is it. Last chance for anyone who wants to set a time. So we will be seeing a lot of squabbling. Certainly coming out of those first couple of chicanes. I think we'll be seeing a lot of drivers try to fight for space and then get the initial jump. Got to be really careful of the sausage curbs here at Imola. It can be brutal. Those things do not just bump your car. They bite your car. You have to be so careful when you are running close to apexes and going over certain curbs here. Even the best dialed setup can quickly get unsettled by those curbs. Justin Cutler doing well on quali, getting into P5 in the dying moments. Let's see what else is on the table. Damien Reed coming up and hunting down for any space, but not going to be the one. He's going to abandon into the pit lane, leaving just Linatus, I do believe, as that is, there you go, that is Reed again. Just Linatus now. Last time to be set on the boards, and then we will take the full grid walk and see what our racers can expect and what you can expect from the field as we now come through. There we are, folks. That is time. So let's go through your top three in each group, and then we will do our full grid walk as per tradition. Guillemard is going to lead that timesheet with a 40.880, doing immaculately well in the gold class, alongside Lindblom just trailing behind with a 40.927. Only two cars able to get into the 40s, and then closely following behind, 41.3, it's Oskari Herme in the Minecraft 169 NSX. Following on a little bit further behind that, leader of the Silvers, it's going to be John Mitchell. Now, he's got the lead of the championship, and he's got the lead of quali here at Imola too. So, hopefully, a starting precedent and one that he can hold on to for the rest of the race. There's going to be Matthias Martinson in second, alongside Alex North to complete the order with a 42.4 and a 42.6, respectively. And some of these times, I gotta say, are ridiculously close between racers. It is something else here. But here we are. John Gabbert is going to lead your bronzes, meanwhile, in the number 21 NSX. And I'm sorry, I keep calling it a Castro NSX, but it just has the colour scheme. It really just has the colour scheme. And I have brought up on far too many games of Gran Turismo and that Supra. But regardless, that aside, he's comfortably leading the bronze class as we have Peter Smith a half second away in second place in the McLaren. Andy Trickett is going to complete your top three for the bronzes, as we have got ourselves a 43.6 from him here. And then you have 36 cars in total that adorn the track. Michael Ball and Helge Olsen, unfortunately not setting a time here on this occasion, so they will be at the back of the grid by default. Oh yes, that is a good call as well. The Sega Rally Celica, yes, absolutely. That is a quality call. I am 100% on board with that. But let's take the full walkthrough, ladies and gentlemen. So now it's time to see who has got what it takes. So Let's see why that grid walk is not functioning. There we are. Anyway, so it's Gamer in the 208 with the 888 NXX of Lindblom lining alongside him in row 1. Hermé alongside McNair is going to complete your row 2. As you can see, the car's jacked up, finalising their setups ahead of formation with number 13 in P4. That's going to be Cutler starting row 3 in the Nismo, the number 35 with Neergaard alongside in the 313 Mercedes AMG GT3. Row 4 is going to be Peter Wolfslener in the 196 Mustang, closely followed by fellow Wolfpack driver Johan Larsson. They're now into 8th place. Really meeting his match here this season, as he was gone into the mid-pack of the gold class. Lenatus in the number 12 Audi alongside Matthias Holmberg. Wolfpack really love their Mustangs, but that completes your top 10. James Payton in P11 with the 248 Mercedes AMG alongside the Porsche of Dave Marsh in the number 27, and with the best, one of the best liveries in modern motorsport. John Mitchell in P13, of course, leader of the silver. You know him, you love him. Alongside Paul Hamby in 14th position in the number 84 Lamborghini. 15th is going to go to Matthias Martinson and Alex North, 2nd and 3rd of the silver groups. And in the 207, Aston Martin, North is looking sharp. 979 Lexus going to Damien Reed, looking sharp as well, with Anthony Heber in the 28 car, the Ferrari. Beautiful, deep red, really rich looking car. And Rich Arscombe is going to be in P19. I swear that was not intentional. P20, and rounding out, say, row 10 is going to be John Gabbert, and then you have Radislav Vishrek in P21. Initial strong lap, but didn't really push much further than that. Zimmer in the pit lane, although cause is unknown. He's going to be in P22, but looks like he'll start at the back. Robert Homer in P23 alongside Hiro in the 992 Porsche. So both Porsches on this row. And then it's Peter Smith alongside Craig Morrison in the 113 and 213 McLarens, respectively. Closing out and into almost the 30s now, we have Andy Trickett in the 115 720S. And then it's the Pepsi Max McLaren of Paul Murray, the number 90 in 28th position. P29 is going to go to the bright royal purple of Craig Niesbet, number 331, and then the number 420. Although I still see it only in that chrome green or that chrome pink. It's Roger Dismuquez. Final 6 now, it's Christian Sullivan in P31, taking a bit of a hit compared to his previous performances. And 32 is going to be Richard Colomb. Stuart Holmes is going to be in number 2, say the Scottish SIMseniors livery, looking very nice. And then it's the matte black of Rick Quinkellenberg in the 296 GT3. Finally, it's going to be Michael Bull in 35th, along with Helge Olsen in the most brushed carbon look with the Lamborghini. And there you have it, folks. That is our full order. Full order? Full order here. And we will now see everyone get ready to go. Let's see what our racers have on show for us today, as they are going to be slowly making their way around as they now are to Aqua Minerale, and then they will go double file ready to go. Everyone is going to be just trying to get some heat into their tyres, trying to warm things up, get themselves ready to go. It is still looking overcast, and whoa, hang on a second, folks. We've gone from overcast to raining now. All right, this is potentially about to get interesting. This is going to get spicy. If the rain persists, we will have a major strategic shakeup on our hands. It's going to be a lot for the drivers to deal with. They're going to have to make some judgments, and they're going to have to make some snap judgment calls. Sega. Sorry, I had to do it. We're going to have to quickly figure out. The track's already gone greasy. We've already got the track in greasy. That is insane. We've gone from optimal to fast to greasy in half a formation lap. What do you even say to that? But here we go, regardless. Everyone's going to line up double file. Wouldn't be surprised if we see some really early stops coming out here, just getting onto a wet compounder tyre as soon as possible. Unless some of the drivers here have clairvoyance. But it's going to be a very sketchy start, I think, for some. We're going to see a lot of nerves coming out onto the track. Hopefully, no casualties. But also, no promises. The nerves are going to be high, but the tension is going to be off the charts as well. Okay, green line about to drop any second. Green flag, an hour of racing. You know the rules. Mandatory pit stop with fuel. Tyres optional, but I don't think they're optional in this case. Let's be honest, folks. Green flag, the track is hot. One more time here in Season 9. Let's go to it. Let's get it happening. And already we're going to see Hermé and Lindblom both try and just fight for a bit of space. Going alongside Guillemot and then behind him. And no, Hermé! Already we have a casualty, just completely losing the car into the gravel. There's two more cars. I think that's Johan Larsson right there, along with Wolfsledder. And they're all just trying to push as hard as they can. They've not got the space to do it, and they've not got the grip underneath them where they can trust the car. Even Lindblom's struggling. Look at him. That slip angle coming out of the Villeneuve chicane. He's got to really wrangle that car. He's got to be so careful. Too much push here, too much punch for Judy, and it's all over. You see a lot of different mix of cars here, everyone trying to just balance their driving style with the characteristics of their machinery underneath them. I do feel for the Porsche drivers in particular, because we know that while they can take a little bit of slip angle at times, once they go over that drop zone, they are in serious trouble. So you have to have a very light foot and a gentle touch. You've really got to be careful with your braking points, and that constantly evolving track surface. It's better to err on the side of caution, as we see there Hamby going a little bit wide off the side of Mitchell, but didn't necessarily know where his car was going to get to a reasonable speed. So you've got to be so fine with your throttle inputs here. The track has evolved to damp now, and you can see that is Holmberg going off the side of the course. Dropping a position to Marsh, potentially in for Payton too. There we are, so drivers having to make the judgment call sooner rather than later, but they'll have to find that balance first. So at what point do they decide that it is going to be ideal to head in? Looks like Wolfsledder is going to make that judgment call right out the gate. He's going to be taking 0 chances. Of course, if you can avoid making a second pit stop later in the race, then that would be ideal. And I think that's part of why we are seeing drivers, despite the evolving conditions, stay out a little bit longer. They want to at least get to a place where they can hold their stint till the very end. And maybe they are expecting the rain to subside. Maybe they don't want to take that chance. Okay, the weather is random, and the weather is going to be wild card that drivers can't necessarily predict. Mitchell and Hamby dueling alongside each other. Hamby just getting the move out of Tosa and confirming it now through Piratella. Just crest over. Nicely done there. We do have a casualty though, however that is Richard Colomb. That is a incident for him there. He's just lost control coming out of the Villeneuve chicane. Well, as they're looking on with Alex North, there's a little bit of contact between himself and Reed. That's going to be coming out of Acqua Minerale. And we have a casualty again. This time it's going to be Rich Arscombe. He's going to spin himself out at Acqua Minerale there. Going to have to get himself back on track and fast. Luckily he's managed to rejoin, but he's just going to be ahead of and potentially being overtaken by Quinkellenberg. He's all the way down in P30. And still having to fight for space. As you can see, that is going to be Michael Ball heeling in alongside him. It's because trying to peek for a chance on Paul Murray, but no such luck being afforded. As you can see, he's actually got past through Murray's own mistake, just cooking it a little bit too much into Ribata, and that's all she wrote, fortunately. There we go, we'll see here, there's going to be a bit of a rare mistake coming out from Lindblom. Looks like he's actually having a bit of trouble with that NSX in the wet. I don't think he's the most confident wet weather driver, because it seems like he's had a couple of slips and a couple of moments where he's having to fight the car. Potentially he's set it up too tight, where he doesn't have the play. I think he's running more of a dry-oriented setup and more aggressive driving style, which is not going to lend you any solace in this weather. Even so, he has managed to challenge back for the position, and he has successfully got past McNair. Neargard, you can see, is trying to peek around the side and just analyze the situation in front of him. There you go, say that's going to be way too deep there for Lindblom, just misjudged his braking point, and as soon as he got the position back, he's lost it once more. McNair actually really holding his own and doing a masterwork of a session thus far, although he's going to go a bit too hot there. He's going to make contact multiple times with Guillemard as they fight across Variante Alto, and now they're drag racing into Rivarta. McNair is committed to that inside line. Who's going to take it? Who's going to win this drag race? It's a war of attrition. It's a game of chicken. There is debris in the front of that Nismo, and I think that threw him off. That's going to be a tip on the rear for Guillemard. Slight pit maneuver, although not intentional, I'm sure. That's going to not only open the door for McNair to get into first, but Neargard, like a vulture, waiting for the chance, picking the scraps, and taking a clean P2 with minimal effort on his part. That's strategic racing right there, and Neargard has certainly benefited from this little squabble. Guillemard's got to be so annoyed by this point, but he can't let his temper get the better of him here. He has to be careful. That wet weather is just as punishing to anyone here. He cannot take any chances. There's going to be, looks like Larson going right to the grass on the inside, and even Hermé going right to the right side, as everyone is going to be just tossing and turning and fighting for position left, right, and center. We have 2 pit stops already out. That's going to be for Randy Zimmer and Peter Wolfsteiner. I think that was the start, say Zimmer, for his pit stop, but yeah, Wolfsteiner going in for that early pit ASAP. Interesting choice there. I wonder if that's going to pay off later. Okay, back to the top. Neargard is actually peeling away a good amount of time right now. You see Lindblom making another wobble. Looks like Aqua Minerale seems to be a pain point for him in that NSX. So we've seen a couple of times he's kicked the rear or he's taken a bit too much on the exit. And in fact, McNair is now going to get past him and get himself into P2. Lindblom having to defend hard against Guillemard for that P3 spot to be retained. Guillemard's not going to let it go easy. You can see he comes up to the left side now. Well, now into P4. He really is having his work cut out for him. Minor contact on the rear bumper as he goes wide into Rivarta. If there is a driver I feel for out of that top lot, it is going to be, of course, Oscar Hermé. He's got such good pace, but he hasn't been able to extract it today. He's right in the middle of it all, and he's not going to be having any luck with getting himself out of trouble. Peter Smith is just going to be having a bit of a moment coming out on to Variante Alto, and then re-emerges just ahead of turn 16. But Hermé has got a lot of work to do. He hasn't had the best race. Of course, had that initial slide out into the gravel and hasn't really been able to recover since. He hasn't been able to find his momentum. I mean, one I am impressed by is Neargard. He's got himself almost 2 seconds onto McNair already. This is the power of the wet racing. He's got a clean run and he's not feeling disturbed in any way. But the rain has stopped now. There was a very short spell of rain here tonight, and all of a sudden now the tables could be turning once more. Once that track dries up and gets into a stable state, remember the temperatures are still very high here. It may be wet, but it is also very hot, a little bit humid. So you will be seeing that track potentially drying up quickly. We will get back to those optimal conditions. Good run from Linatus onto Dave Marsh there. Excellent chicane. What a fight we're seeing right now. Lindblom still determined to get himself back into those podium positions. Stuck behind Guillemard right now. I think he's actually struggling a little bit with powering out of those corners. Remember, he has got 40 extra kilos. And compared to Guillemard, it's a 30 kilo ballast difference. Guillemard has 10 kilos of his own. That is a not insignificant amount of weight. That is quite substantial. That's like carrying, that's carrying a small child. That's carrying an extra small child in the driveline of your car. That's the equivalent. So, curiously, I don't actually know where the game simulates the ballast being situated? I'm actually quite curious to know about that. Does it simulate it just being at the center of mass, or does it genuinely have ballast points that it introduces in the car? Although maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Larson with a good move on Vischerek right there. Just trying to re-establish himself as a front runner. Starting in P8, but dropping down to P15 following a couple altercations and a little bit of off-track madness with fellow Wolfpack drivers. Hermé stuck behind Iro, trying to get the elbows out, but Iro has really managed to find his fight and come into his own today as well. We've seen Iro before as a fairly reserved driver at times, but it seems like today on this occasion he's not afraid to push and he's not afraid to go much stronger on his race efforts. Because he had a really good initial showing in qualifying, and even if it didn't have the staying power, he certainly had the teams and drivers impressed. Although going alongside Hermé does bump across those curbs coming out of Variante Alta, and Hermé is going to get the move. So he's still in a good place. He is still, remember, P5 in the silver class. Of course, the individual standings for the classes do obfuscate things a bit. So North is technically in the lead just as much as Neergaard is. Sega. And Sullivan is in P3 right now. Or Sullivan is for Gabbert in P3. Sorry, got to be committed. Made our bed, we now must lie in it. Here comes Larson onto the side of Hebert, now coming through. That's the Villeneuve chicane right there, and say not a good run there for Larson per se. A little bit of contact and having to back off. Not only losing the challenge, but losing to Vischerek too. They're going to go side by side though. Actually, correction, this is Villeneuve. That was previously Tamburello. But now coming through into Tosa, and a little bit of squabbling further back, as that is going to be Hermé right in the middle of it all. Managed to get past Iro. Now trying to get past Vischerek. The lead has calmed down in a lot of ways, as McNair is 2.5 seconds behind Neergaard, and Guillemard 1.5 McNair. Lindblom is losing a fair chunk of time, and in fact Justin Cutler could be challenging on his position soon. Iro go alongside Vischerek there, go a little bit deep into Acqua Minerale, so better exit from the Ferrari. That's going to keep him into position there. That's going to keep him up in P4. Martinson even getting a bit of an advantage off of that mistake, as we now have a little hiccup from the Porsche. It will be a bit of work to do. Checking back to the front here, this is Cutler going way off the track. I don't really know what's going on with him there. He's just completely missed the Tamburello chicane. He's dropping all the way down to P6. It's actually, because of the spacing of the field, he's not really going to feel the effects of that mistake as much. Let's see what they have in store anyway. Let's see what's going on with Niesbet right now. Sega. That's all in my That's just all I can think about now. Every time I see that NSX, it's making way past Dismukes right now, as a Niesbet could follow the open door. Really could be pushing forward here. So good fighting coming out from, say, Niesbet, Dismukes as well. Coming up to the back of Gabbert here too. We'll see if this fleshes out into a proper battle in a moment. Arscombe is going to be not too far behind, as they're getting his teeth into this one too. just taking a moment to appreciate the racing in front of us, honestly. Nice to see drivers just finding and settling in their place of the track. Going to be a smooth run here for many. Larson trying to get onto the back of Hebert and see if he can get something by. The track is starting to dry up again. We have gone from damp to greasy. And some slight crosswinds, but nothing to write home about. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but we will still see field closing in on each other in a couple of places. A lot of the drivers at this point just want to get some space. They don't really want to go too close to another car. Don't want to introduce uncertainty, variables. Not ideal for them at this point. So we'll see what the racers have in mind as we get into these next couple phases. I'm curious to see how Guillermo's going to react right now. He's got himself quite a bit of work to do if he wants to catch up. He's not only got to get past McNair, but Niergaard is right there. Oh, we have an issue though. That's Michael Bull going off the side of the track and rejoining. Oi, okay, rejoining completely sideways. That's a bit of a memento. That's a bit of a no-no. But Larson and Hebert making contact, allowing Hermé to get past as well. Let's see what we have. Holmberg closing in on Hamby. For 1 second, folks. Here we go anyway. Holmberg coming up to the back of Hamby right now, so chasing him as he makes his way through and down under the footbridge into Rivazza. Don't know if he's actually got much of an opportunity here. I think he was better off biding his time. Doesn't want to go too hard, too quick. Hamby, we know, can be a solid racer and a tough opponent to get round. You don't want to alert him too much, don't want to have to get him too defensive, because then it'll be a bit of trouble. Won't be able to necessarily challenge and fight back. But here we go, he's going to go for the shot now, into the first corner here as they diving down. Way too hot there, though. Way too hot into the Tamburello chicane. Cresting over the gravel. Luckily, no getting stuck. And Holmberg is going to be a couple of seconds down now. So that fight is well and truly over. Hermé, meanwhile, on the defensive as Johan Larson, a familiar face, is going to be continuing to pressure and continuing to put on some serious pressure. As we will be seeing our racers, our fighters, going real aggressive. Just trying to get the elbows out. Back to the front is Guillermo, who has managed to close a bit of space and proximity to Colin McNair. And there will be a challenge on his hands here, though, as McNair, we know, is a driver who can get the elbows out and can really put some pressure on him here. Wondering to see what Guillermo does. Does he go for it into turn one like we have seen as many times before, or will he go for something a bit more unorthodox? We have seen a couple of drivers who've dropped down a big way. We've also seen some come up. We will look for gains and losses a little bit later, and then see where we go from there. See, Gamer is just teasing, going left and then right and then left again. McNair is really going to have to keep an eye out, as he's not going to be getting much freedom here. He won't be getting much freedom. Be a big ask. He wanted to try and get by. Let's see what's going on here. So we'll jump onto the helicopter. So Helge Olsen, currently P34, gaining from the last position on the field. And quietly making his way up a couple of spots. Randy Zimmer going into the pits for, I believe, now the second time. So we'll see where he comes out and how that affects his later race. Niesbet chasing onto Disukes right here. Yeah, Gamer will be one that we check in back with periodically. And the night is young here. We are coming up to the key point to say Niesbet P25 now. We'll be waiting to see who has what it takes. Really put some racing moves down on the racetrack. Oh no, that's Oscari Herme. No, he's gone off the side of the track. He's gone off the side. He's had to rejoin, coming into P16. He's really not had some good luck. He's not had an easy time here at all. He's going to have to work for this one. I do feel for the guy, like we were saying. I really do feel for him. But the show must go on. And looks like we have had more than one car having issues. Say Matthias Martinsson, he just had a yellow flag for himself. And he's currently sitting down in P19. So I think he's had a slight off. Robert Homer chasing onto Craig Morrison. Herme onto Heber, Heber onto Larson. Gaimar has subsided, or at least chilled his fight for the time being. As McNair is his target, but not his endgame. I think that is a bit of a wiser move. You don't want to be putting too much fight onto someone who is, well, let's be honest here, not your end goal. McNair is up ahead, but really he wants to get back into first. He started in first, and that's where he wants to be. So, wants to make sure that overtake is decisive, so he can focus on gaining time to near guard when the time comes. Ebert coming up to the back of Herme, and Herme with another off into the gravel. What is going on with this NSX? It seems like he is just struggling to wrangle that thing and keep him down. He is not having an easy time at all. I've got to say, it's tough to watch because we know that Herme is capable of such great pace and such great driving. And it's not coming through tonight. I think the rain might have just set him off and started a bit of a decline. You're not going to be having an easy run here at all. But still, there is time. Gaimar is now under a lot of pressure of his own, as throughout all of this, a certain Lindblom has made an appearance and is not going to be taking no for an answer. Making his way through The Tamburello chicane and now to Villeneuve. He's keeping close to the Mustang, which can be a bit of a handful. And in between all of that, we'll see what the race is going to hold. Because the challenge comes not necessarily from just getting the overtake. The challenge comes from holding the position and defending it if they choose to retaliate. So Hebert on the back of Hermé, trying to get the position back. Is going to be Homer on Morrison, and oh, major contact there. That was a brutal hit. Really serious hit there between the two. Let's jump onto the helicopter and see that from another angle. So coming out of Tamburello chicane, and then heading his way. So he peeks to the left, has the nose in. That's going to be Morrison going very deep, 2 wheels on the grass, and boom, that is day done for them. Both of them taking a position hit. Not looking good for him there. He will be struggling. I don't know who is going to be making a big fight next, but let's check around the field. Let's look at our top threes for everyone that we have currently on the track. First off, Nearguard. Really impressed, really surprised everyone here with that smooth but effective overtake, and then just sliding his way into P1 and into the sunset. Really nicely done. McNair is going to be in P2 and got the elbows out early. Now that the track is inoptimal, he's got the upper hand, as Guillemard is going to be chasing onto him in at P3 with Lindblom waiting in tow. Into the silvers, we have Alex North, who has kept things fairly quiet and almost formed his own pack within the race. He's not got a lot of pressure to move forward, but he has got a certain Damien Reed who will be breathing down his neck before long. We'll see what that comes of that one, as John Mitchell will be his second. And oh no! Spin coming through for Alex North, as he is going to have to get out of the way and be careful. All of a sudden, John Mitchell is looking like someone who could really challenge for that spot, and he has got back ahead of Alex North now. So he leads Silver once again in a twisted turn of events. North now into P2. As Hebert lies in wait, and it makes that Hebert into P2 as North makes a mistake at Rivata. Down to P3. What a turn of events that has been. Donatus and Reed changing places and doing a bit of position trades further up, but into bronzes. Christian Sullivan is going to be in first place for the bronzes here, with the Sega machine himself, Don Gabbert, into P22 and second overall for his group, with Roger Dismukes in third. That's where we have things, folks. Currently top three for every group. And now let's look back at what our racers have in store for us. So Guillemard is once again into the rear view mirror of McNair, going through Variantiata, but you can see that NSX is looming. Very hungry for that room and for that podium spot he desires. Totally going to be on the hunt here. See Lindblom just skulking through that rear view mirror. He just refuses to move, he refuses to leave. And even so, one could say the same about the likes of Holmberg as he's back to Peyton. Now going to overtake a back marker just on the left side. I do believe that that is a, albeit damaged. Yeah, actually trying to see who that is. I believe that is, yep, that's Stuart Holmes. His McLaren is actually looking quite worse for wear. It looks like he's had a serious shunt and he's not so much driving the car as he is limping it. Well, we're going to see Cutler and North going into the pits around this time. So they're going to join the likes of Lenatus, Morrison, Bull, Zimmer as well, going from 2 stops. Then Peter Smith, Paul Murray and Wolf Slenner. Coming up to the halfway point of the race, it will be time for many racers to consider their pit strategy. Now, you can go for the quote-unquote optimal. You can go for a balance and just try and go half an hour each. That's the cleanest way to approach it. And then even coming off of that, you can go either way. You can have a short initial stint or a very long initial stint followed by a splash and dash type strategy, which has proven to be effective in prior seasons, although not sure how effective it is now. And maybe swing and misses, as we don't see that strategy nearly as much anymore as we used to. It has been one that has dropped, or at least not become as effective. We usually see all pit stops get done by the 10 to 15 minute mark as opposed to the last 5. Definitely push it though. Even so, AMR hot on the heels of McNair, as McNair is going a little bit too hard, taking a bit of slip angle as he goes through the Villeneuve chicane as they're going into Tosa now. See, McNair has to take the defensive line. Has no choice as he had a poor exit. Defended quite well though. He has gone through and held the line quite cleanly. Hasn't got too much to consider right now, other than just trying to chase him down. Bit of a wobble. Tiny bit of a wobble there, but still got it in him. I don't know where we could see this one going either way. It looks like John Mitchell has had a bit of an issue further down. We'll check in with him momentarily. Lindblom is just... I'm sorry, I got to stay in this view, because Lindblom is just there. Is just ruthless and is not moving. He is not moving at all. I am very much impressed with how much he's able to hold that pressure, but even so, Guillemot is going to have his day now, as Neergaard, McNair and Lindblom all head into the pits. Marsh is going to go into 2nd place. And Peyton into 3rd. Yeah, it is that half-hour point. Most drivers, like we were saying, want to try and optimize their strategies where they can. Time to see who has the beans and who's willing to push, as a Niesbet is going to drop down now behind and is going to be falling off to the side of the session here. Lenatus also going to be getting an advantage here, as Neergaard now out of the pits. They're going to follow suit along with a Lindblom. I think just trying to get a bit of a chase here is going to be the name of the game. You're just trying to get a little bit of a tail. And just going for a chance at an attack. So Hebert could be also one to get an advantage out of this one, as he's on to the back of John Mitchell. Now remember, this is for lead. This is for silver lead here. This is a big chance for him. As North took that pit stop earlier, and he's out of the picture now until these two do the same. Mitchell defending well. You can see the track has got much brighter now from the greys that we initially saw. It is back to optimal conditions. It's looking nice and bright here in the sort of late afternoon, early evening here at Imola. 25 minutes on the clock. See who will be the one. Who is going to be the one that has the will and the wherewithal to take it? Is going to be Gamer as a near guard going across the gravel. I don't know if there was contact. There's no indication that there was contact made between the two. I think Nearguard just defending a bit too hard there. They're really going aggressive here. See what they have in store. Hebert still on the back of Mitchell throughout all of this. They feisty looking battles here. Mate out of the pits now after going in just a moment ago. Let's see what he's got in store. So Mitchell is going to tail away from him just a little bit here. So we've got 20 minutes to go. So Christian Sullivan going alongside Stuart Holmes right now. Holmes still having to deal with damage. And he's going to get overtaken. Say Sullivan's got it. Gabbett's got it. Sega. And potentially Martinson too. Holmes has gone... Oh, Holmes has gone completely off the rails. He's gone off to the side of the track. We're going to RTP. Yep, he's going to return to the pit lane. Not looking good for him there. Never mind anyway. So that is going to be a bit of a downer and a bit of a abrupt end to the session for him there. But let's see who has what it requires. Final 20 minutes means two things for drivers. It means either you need to up the ante and start pushing harder and harder, or you need to go for all the stops and protecting your position. Looks like we've had a yellow flag coming in from Rich Oscom, but that's just going to be coming into the pit lane. So it's actually just going to be for where he's coming out of the pit lane. And there we go. Who will be the one to win? I mean, right now it's looking like it could go either way. Nearguard is still the driver to beat, albeit with that slight hiccup, it has put a damper on his lead. Not as far ahead and is pushing as hard as he could be. I think there's still a bit more that he could do. if he wants to truly secure that position. But Hegardt is still in a good spot. I say McNair is going to be there as well, and McNair is looking pretty swift. So Guillemard is going to be up ahead of him now, but Lindblom is just behind and really piping on the pressure. He's hunting for it. And Lindblom is there, but he's going to have to work hard, because McNair, as we've discussed, is a driver who can really push and get the elbows out if you don't keep your whereabouts. You will find yourself in a tight spot. Just taking a second to observe it all right now. As we do have Lindblom still going for it. Marsh now coming out the pits. He's the last one to do so. So everyone at this point has taken their pit stops. So Lindblom is still the closest. It will be firecracker of a fight when it really comes to blows. You can see here's Lindblom. He's going to go alongside. He's going into Acqua Minerale. He's going to try and challenge it on the left, but this is not a corner that he has had luck with. In the dry, could be a different story. Track is back to best conditions. This is the best chance he has. Peels to the left, peels to the right once more, trying to wave and see and get anything that he can out of him. But it's not happening just yet. It's not happening yet for him. Will be pushing hard to try and get past, but McNair is actually taking advantage. He's actually taking advantage of this whole thing, because look, he's right to the back of Guillemard now. I think he might even challenge for P2. I think he's got a lot on his hands here. I think that we could really see something spicy about to play out. It's a three-way fight that could potentially kick off at any moment. You can see McNair on the defensive as Lindblom peels to the right side here. And here we go, here's Lindblom. He's really going for it now. He might try a second attempt. So goes to the right as out of the exit of Acqua Minerale. He's just trying to get the better speed. Potentially claim the apex as we head into Variante Alto. So it's time to go for it. Lindblom makes the dive. He goes for it. He commits to the move. And very cleanly done as well. He's actually just swept through. And he is looking sharp. What an attack. What an attack there. Seriously impressed. Right now, going through. Lindblom is into P3 and he's still in the middle of this whole fight. So it's not out of the woods yet. He's far from it. And now checking in with a couple of others, looks like there's fights up and down the whole shop. Gonna have to find the balance. Find the careful balance here. As you're not going to be able to just take the position, get it so easily. Looks like a yellow flag coming in for Stuart Hobbs, and he's going to return to the pit lane now. So, I think that could be curtains on the campaign. It could be curtains, but hopefully not. Hopefully that is not the case. This looks like Sega himself. The Sega machine is unfortunately taking an off in Aqua Minerale. My microphone cut out for a second there. As Iro is now going to go for a challenge all the same. Heber is going to be the victim this time, but is going to keep committed to try and hold that position. Both of them through the chicane there. Very nicely done. And Iro, no contact, only just clean sweep. Managing to block off Heber. Well played. Very crafty and very nicely done. Hey, this is Lindblom now going for it. Guillemard goes across the gravel. This could be the chance here as he comes out to Tamburello chicane. So Lindblom's going for it. This is it here, folks. This is it. Guillemard's going to go for the counter-attack, though, and out the outside of the Villeneuve chicane. In fact, McNair could be going for a switchback here through now on Tosa. I think he's really dropping the hammer now. Here's a drop in the hammer in a big, big way. Guillemard, Lindblom, McNair all jostling and fighting for position. You see McNair is going to be dropping behind a little bit as the door was closed by the NSX. Homer and Oscom could be fighting as well. We'll check in with those a little bit. Beautiful fighting. And you can almost watch the thinking process of the drivers in real time. Like, watch how these cars move. Just take a second to observe. Look at where they place themselves. Look at how they try to close the gap and take to one side, or sometimes just stay behind and really get up close without making contact, of course. It's the mind games. It's knowing that your opponent is right there, breathing down your neck, and not allowing anything in terms of you getting away. There will be no such easy rides. And there will be a lot of pressure piling on. Guillemard taking a bit of a suboptimal Tamburello chicane. A little bit of a wobble there. That's going to be Lindblom going for it. He has the pace around the outside, but Guillemard closing that door once again. See, even McNair is going to take a bite out of the cherry. Excellent stuff. McNair getting into P3, say leveraging the situation and seeing that Lindblom was in a tight spot. It's a decisive, quick overtake. Really effective stuff. Looking like a mighty fight. Looking like there could be some big chops and big challenge on the horizon. But I'm seriously impressed. McNair is going to be just waiting. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be real close here, as it can go either way. Just as soon as Lindblom gets close and starts making a challenge, he could fall away. Just as soon as McNair is onto the back of Guillemard, Guillemard could get a really good complex. I think that we will see a lot of back and forth here. But I think that there is still time for final shots as we have the final 10 minutes Neargard is run away. I think Neargard is going to be one that is just escaping here. And I don't think there's much that can be said about it. 10 seconds is a large gap to overcome. And I don't think it's one that anyone is going to hit any time. So far, so good though. Really great racing from many at the top. And many at the bottom as well. Oh no, that's... Oh, contact! No, not looking good there. McNair is going to be going right into the back of Guillemot. I think push comes to shove. It's only meant to be a turn of phrase. But McNair does yield, so showing that respect towards the fellow driver. Going to be calm and collected and show the ability to yield and to sort of have that greater respect, because it's more important to have that respect for your fellow driver and that sportsmanship than it is to take top positions at the end of the day. I think you're going to have a lot of situations like that. We've already had a lot of situations like that in the season. They're getting a overtake done, not always in the cleanest manner, but then also giving it back and saying, no, I want to do this honourably. I want to do this in an honourable way. I don't want to get too aggressive and just sort of pee all over the principles. Because not only that, there will be stewards. Stewards do get involved with these things. You can't take those chances. Here we are, say Hermé going for a little bit of a challenge here. That's going to be on Johan Larsson. So looking back up further, say McNair and Guillemot, say as McNair's managed to get it clean this time to what looked like Aqua Minerale. Say Guillemot feeling that stress, feeling that pressure. He's running out of time if he wants to get the position. Will be really having a bit of a wobble, but I think we'll see and find his form again. So, final 5 minutes on the clock now. Liam Blom is going to be now finding his stride up in P2. He's doing the Liam Blom thing. He is now found his pocket of the track and he's unencumbered by fighting, now able to peel a gap, similar to what we saw with Neargard not too long earlier. He was able to just get the gap, get the push, and now he's seeing himself really opening the taps and starting to gap away. Let's see who we have. I say Homer still on the back, but now to Radislav Vishrek We will have Paul Murray, who has been in the pits since basically the start, so unfortunate to see that ending. So we do have Holmes, unfortunately, messing up on the Variantiata chicane once more. He has had a bit of a struggle with that chicane in particular. Yeah, he has had a bit of a back and forth with that chicane. Just looking around and taking a moment, just reflecting, as so we took a little bit of a break, of course, on the broadcast last week, as I was not in a good way, and it's really good to be back and sort of taking a moment to appreciate that, having been here quite a few seasons now, and really having got to see the sights and see SIMseniors evolve and change. It's been an amazing experience, and I know that I should be saving this sort of sentimental moment for really the end of Season 9, because we're not even there yet. But having that week's break and then now coming back, it's sort of made me think about that, and made me very appreciative of the seasons that we've had, and how it has been amazing to both sort of push the envelope in terms of broadcasting, but also just to see the races and see the great competition that we've had unfold here. It's a privilege. It's a great privilege to be in the broadcast box week in, week out, and no matter what's going on, it's something I always look forward to, is jumping in this box and having a good time. And to everyone in chat as well. So it's been absolutely brilliant seeing familiar faces and friends, and those voices in the chat box always popping up and saying hello, and really sort of enjoying and indulging in the races as much as I'm here. Brilliant little community we've got. Very, very appreciative of that every time. They're checking back in to the race as they get out of the fields for a moment. Olsen and Smith. Ooh, Olsen, what's happened with you, mate? That's not the right way to be facing. That's a very dangerous place on the track. Ooh, yeah, that's contact. That was contact right there. Eee. Okay. Okay, I tensed up there. I fully tensed up. I didn't even know what to say. It's just the nerves got the better of me. That is such a precarious place to go on the track. Say, Peter Smith, I appreciate you want to get back on the track, but that is not a good place to be at all. I mean, you were better off literally just jumping across the racing surface to the infield, I think. Because you did make contact. I believe that was with Craig Morrison. Yeah, you made contact with the front of Morrison there. It will be tough to get back on track when you've had an incident, but you've always got to make sure it's done safely. Gotta be so careful. So careful. When you return to that track. So here we go. Final lap, realistically, for many, as we have the final 30 seconds now clocking down. Now, Nearguard, this could be the last lap, or this could be the second to last lap. Nearguard is right on the line here. It is literally going to be separated by a couple of seconds. But now coming through Ravazza, 10 seconds to go before the end of the lap. So is he going to be able to get across the line in time for one more go? Leader is on the final lap, so One more lap there, literally within a couple of seconds. That is within a couple of seconds to the letter. Really, really close call. And as a quite the challenge there. But what a showing. And as we come to the final stage and the final lap, it is one of those tracks that never fails to disappoint. Like, we've had some real impressive racing, and we have had some top battles start to finish here. I mean, Neergaard, what do you even say to his performance? To say he got the early jump, he just ran away with it, and he's done what all of the sort of best race winners do, which is have a really quiet race. He's not had to fight, he's not had to push, and he's not having to squabble for space on the track. And this is perfect for him. This is perfect for him right there. Because you cannot worry about anything other than just putting down the best times. But here we go. Neergaard, congratulations, mate. Emphatic winner of Imola here. And the checkered flag has fallen to the 313 Mercedes-AMG. Lindblom not too far behind, 10 seconds later. And brilliant driving from Enzo. Really recovered well and then proceeded to hold the line all the way to second. McNair in third with a really impressive drive as well. Say seriously impressed once more. Guillemard in fourth, Cutler in fifth, Leonatus in sixth place as well. Then it's Dave Marsh, James Payton just coming through the Rivalta, say the final corner now. And now we'll be seeing the rest of the field also come through in due course. So it's Payton, it's Holmberg just behind, it's Hamby a couple of seconds further away. Hermé recovering to P11, so credit where it's due there. He did recover quite nicely. Say Larson into 12th with Damien Reed coming in with a solid 13. Great stuff there. Mitchell coming across the line, but being closely chased by Alex North all the way to the line there. It's really running close, but it's just going to be John Mitchell by a hair. And Alex North in 15th with Hero in 16th. The Hebert coming up to the line in 17th. And then Homer just behind. We'll see also Visharek just in the back line there, closely being chased by Rich Arscombe. I think there may be some celebrations happening on the track. The two are going to be the last two to cross the line, and then we have the final order. So it's following those two, it's Matthias Martinsson, Christian Sullivan, Craig Morrison, Nisbet Zimmer, Gabbert Sega, Roger, Andy, Rick, and then Michael Bull to round off into P30. And then it's Helge Olsen, Richard Colomb, Peter Smith, Peter Wolfsteiner, Stuart Holmes, and then Paul Murray to finish. Although they ended their races in the pit lane, so they 4 laps behind and 18 laps behind respectively. But amazing stuff from everyone out on track today. It's been brilliant to watch everyone race, and this is where we're going to wrap it. So thank you everyone, as always, for joining us on the broadcasts. Now, you will want to stick around because it is going to be every Tuesday until the end of the season. Next week we head to Barcelona. So, interesting track and one that you won't want to miss. I think that you're going to love it, but this is where we say goodbye, folks. Thank you as always for joining us. Thank you for the little sentimental moment we had earlier, to the chat, and to anyone watching this back. Hope we'll see you next week and for the rest of Season 9 here at SimSeniors. My name's been Ben Sapsford. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Three, two, one, go! Go!